If you've started intermittent fasting or you're thinking about it, you've probably heard the word autophagy thrown around. And usually it's talked about like a magical switch that's turned on, where your body suddenly starts repairing itself, burning fat more efficiently and improving your overall health. And while there is truth to that, it is a pretty amazing thing, the way it's usually explained online is oversimplified. It's mainly triggered by fasting, but it can also be influenced by things like exercise, overall calorie intake, and the types of food you're eating. It's not just about how long you fast. It's about the overall environment you're creating for your body. There is a sweet spot when it comes to fasting. More is not always better. Longer isn't always better. In fact, pushing fasting too aggressively can increase stress, disrupt hormones, and make things worse, especially if your foundation isn't solid. What you're looking for is a level of fasting that your body responds well to. Something you can sustain consistently, because consistency is what actually drives the benefits that we're searching for. So in today's video, I'm going to give you 6 subtle signs that fasting is working, and that your body has likely switched into a state where autophagy is being supported. And stay with me until the end, because number 6 is something you can actually see on your body, but most people miss the connection. So let's start with the first thing people tend to notice. When you're constantly eating, especially if you're snacking throughout the day, your digestive system never really gets a break. It's constantly working. And over time, that can lead to things like bloating, discomfort, and that feeling of always being full, even when you shouldn't be. When you introduce fasting, or even a more structured eating schedule, your gut finally has time to rest. And that break allows your digestive system to reset. It improves gut motility and reduces that constant pressure on your system. So you might notice that your stomach feels flatter. You don't feel uncomfortable after meals. And digestion just feels easier. It might not be dramatic if you did have good digestion before, but it is noticeable. And that's one of the first signs that your body is responding well. Now, the next one is something that not a lot of people expect. That I just want something after dinner habit starts to fade. And this is a really important one, because cravings, they're not just about willpower. Oftentimes, they're driven by your blood sugar and your hormones. When blood sugar is fluctuating throughout the day, your body is constantly looking for quick energy. That's where sugar cravings come from. But when you start spacing out your meals, when you reduce your snacking, those signals start to calm down. And instead of feeling like you need something sweet, you just don't think about it. This is where fasting starts to feel easier, because you're not constantly battling cravings. Now, here's where people start to get really curious, because once your cravings go down, something else starts to shift. Your energy becomes more stable. You're not riding that roller coaster of feeling good after eating, then crashing a few hours later. Instead, your energy feels more even throughout the day. And that's because your body is getting better at switching between fuel sources. Instead of constantly relying on glucose from food, it can tap into your stored energy, aka your body fat. And this is exactly what we want. Now the third one, and this one can feel a little bit strange at first. This can sometimes be referred to as keto breath. This happens when your body starts producing more ketones, which are a byproduct of fat metabolism. It's essentially a sign that your body is shifting from relying primarily on glucose to using fat as a fuel source. Now, this tends to happen more in the early stages, so if it's happening to you, don't panic. It doesn't mean something is wrong and it will go away. It just means your body is adapting. And for most people, this settles down when your body gets more efficient at using ketones for energy. Remember, you've been relying primarily on glucose for who knows how many years. But this is one of those signs that can definitely make people think, okay, something's happening. Things are finally changing. Now the next one, and this is one where a lot of people get tripped up. You might get a mild headache when you start fasting. And this is one of the biggest reasons that people quit early. They assume fasting isn't working for them, or that their body doesn't tolerate it. It feels really hard to push through that headache. But most of the time, it's not the actual fasting that's causing the headaches. It's electrolytes. When insulin levels drop, which is what happens when autophagy kicks in, your body releases more fluid and more sodium specifically. You're losing more electrolytes than usual. And if you're not replacing them, you can end up feeling headachy, lightheaded, maybe have some fatigue. And at this point, a lot of people feel like they need to eat. That's the problem. but it's not. And this is where supporting your body properly going into your fast is so important. Now, I'll be honest, I have tried a lot of electrolyte products and I get asked all the time whether X product is good, whether Y product is good. And honestly, most of them are crap. Most of them don't have enough sodium, and that is what is important here. They're either too diluted or filled with things you don't really need. So my go-to is always Sodi's Everyday Hydration Salts. They're simple, they actually contain the proper amount of electrolytes and sodium specifically, and you can feel the difference when you're using them consistently. And this is something that people need to understand. There's this huge fear around sodium, and there shouldn't be, especially if you're intermittent fasting. If you're eating well, reducing processed food, and especially if you're fasting, you probably need more sodium, not less. Don't fear sodium in this context. If you're getting headaches, it's not necessarily a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's usually a sign that you just need to support your body better. If this sounds like something you're struggling with during your fast, check out Sodi. I'll put the link in the description box down below. Instead of feeling hungry at random times throughout the day, you start to notice a pattern. You start to feel hungry at the same time every day. And outside of that, food isn't constantly on your mind. This is a sign that your hunger hormones, things like ghrelin, are becoming more regulated. Your body is learning when to expect food. And when this happens, it becomes much easier to stick to your routine. You're not constantly negotiating with yourself whether or not you should eat. The food noise gets quieter. And this is one of the biggest shifts that people experience, because it removes a lot of that mental effort around food. Now the last one, and this is the one that I touched on at the start. You might notice a change in your skin, specifically your skin tags. Skin tags are caused by elevated insulin levels. This is why they're commonly seen in people with insulin resistance, even if everything else seems normal. But when your insulin starts to lower, as it does when autophagy kicks in, your skin tags can shrink. Sometimes they fall off entirely. Now, whenever I mention skin tags and this happening in one of my videos or on Instagram or TikTok, I always get comments from people saying, I just took a look and a skin tag I used to have is gone. So if that's you, if you've lost a skin tag before, let me know in the comments down below. Because there's a big misconception that skin tags are caused by friction, but this is a misconception. And if you have them removed but you don't address your high insulin, they're gonna come back. Now, this isn't an overnight change. You're not gonna see them shrink the first time you do a fast. But over time, as insulin levels improve and your body becomes more sensitive to insulin, this can be something you experience. It is a visible sign of what is happening internally. It's not just about weight, it's not just about calories, it's about the hormonal environment. And when that starts to shift, you start to see changes. So when you zoom out and look at all of these signs together, less bloating, fewer cravings, more stable energy, more predictable hunger, and even things like changes to your skin, these are indicators that your body is responding well. The processes like autophagy are being supported. That your metabolism is becoming more flexible. You're becoming more metabolically healthy. And the key takeaway here is this. If you're noticing these things, you don't need to push harder. Even if you're not losing weight yet, stay on the path. Trust the process. Losing weight faster isn't better. Slower weight loss means sustainable results. So find a fasting routine you can stick to and stay consistent. Now, if you're serious about supercharging your health, which you probably are if you're watching this video, make sure to check out my video on the benefits of sardines next. Because let me tell you, sardines go way beyond omega-3s. Did you know that sardines are actually one of the richest natural sources of creatine? I'll link that on the screen now. And before you go, don't forget to check out Sodi's Everyday Hydration Salts so you can feel great when fasting and stay consistent.